This episode is brought to you by Trillium Aesthetics. Let's face it, the weird look is having a moment. When you look around at celebrities, strange-looking eyes, overfilled lips, puffy cheeks, and faces that don't seem to move at all are common. You've probably started seeing this around you at the store or when you're out with your friends. Trillium Aesthetics is the place to go for non-surgical treatments that keep people wondering, did she have something done? What does she do to get such beautiful skin? The team at Trillium Aesthetics prides itself on results that whisper but don't shout. If you're looking for non-surgical treatments to brighten up a dull winter complexion, add a little pout to your lips, or erase some pesky smile lines, call the team at Trillium Aesthetics. Schedule online on their Instagram page at Trillium_aesthetics or visit the website trilliumaesthetics.com. Welcome to the Trillium Show, where we help you make the changes you want to see in your body, in your mind, and in your life. I'm your host, Dr. Jason Hall. So welcome to this first episode 0 of the Trillium Show. This is an interesting project that I started because I saw a gap in communication with my patients. Being a physician is about learning how to communicate. And I felt that there was a hole in communication between myself, my office, and our patients. That's the reason that I wanted to start recording this podcast, was to be able to communicate directly with the patients without going through the usual website, social media thing that's out there. This is a podcast that's not about plastic surgery specifically, but is about change. Plastic surgery is all about change. And what I've grown to understand over the course of my career, which is now over 11 years in private practice, is that what plastic surgery is about affecting change both physically and psychologically. So this podcast is really a podcast to help people, patients and non-patients alike, navigate change. Change is hard for a lot of people, and having someone to help shepherd a patient or a listener through some of life's changes is important and makes people feel like they're part of a larger community and not navigating these changes by themselves. I guess before we really get started and get into the meat of our podcast episodes, I need to explain a little bit about me and how I ended up becoming a plastic surgeon, because that certainly wasn't the path that I was on when I went to medical school now over 20 years ago. Interestingly, I had gone to medical school to be a gynecologist and joined my dad in practice. And as I went through medical school rotations, I really fell in love with the field of surgery, specifically general surgery, because of the variety that the general surgeons did. I got kind of sucked into the critical care, trauma surgery world because of the problem-solving nature of many critical care doctors' practice. So that took me from Wake Forest and Winston-Salem, North Carolina, down to Dallas to UT Southwestern's general surgery program. There I joined the program, or was recruited to join the program, because they had a good track record of placing general surgery residents in pediatric general surgery, which at the time and still is a very competitive subspecialty, which only takes about 30 fully trained general surgeons and trains them as pediatric surgeons every year. So that was the goal. And what I found when I was there is that UT Southwestern had an outstanding plastic surgery program, and I got to be friends with a lot of the residents who were going through the same training as I was at the time, and see what it was they got to do. And the complexity, the problem solving that I loved about the critical care setting was present in everything that they did, and they got to do cool operations on top of it. So I switched gears midstream, finished 5-year general surgery training program, and then went through the plastic surgery match to trained in plastic surgery. So that took me another 2 years. I went to Houston for that at the Texas Medical Center, which was a fantastic experience in terms of all of the different aspects of plastic surgery that I got to see. And then finished my training at Stanford with a fellowship in facial surgery, which took the problem solving and technical aspects of plastic surgery and just took it up a notch. And that fellowship focused on cleft lip repairs, complex face and jaw surgery. And so I really got a very detailed experience there. And the most important thing that I got out of that, and we will get into that in other episodes, my mentors there at Stanford really taught me how to think about plastic surgery, not just as a set of technical skills, but also as a philosophy. And that's really what plastic surgery is. And that'll be a topic for another episode as well, is just the philosophy of plastic surgery. So from Stanford, I went and did a year as a first job outside of Washington, D.C., and then moved to Houston, where I was in practice with a very good friend of mine, a very talented surgeon, and was there for almost 5 years. And my wife and I decided, for a number of reasons, that we needed a change. We love Houston, still love Houston, but it was not the place that we saw ourselves raising our family. And so we started looking for smaller markets and ended up coming back to my hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee, to open a solo practice. Going from an established practice that we had in Houston to designing, building, and opening our own practice was daunting. And we did it together. I could never have done it without my wife, who was and is right there at every step of the way. She is largely responsible for where we are today. The change, the transition from Houston and being a part of a well-established, busy practice to solo practice in Knoxville was a shocking change, even though we chose it and were prepared for it. Moving to Knoxville and doing what we were doing was a great decision, both for us as a couple and for our family. But the journey's been hard. It's been really hard at times. It's been hard on our business. It's been hard on our marriage, and has given us things that we've had to work through and made us stronger for it. But it's not easy. And that really speaks to change itself. As a plastic surgeon, one of my roles is shepherding patients through the surgical process and helping them not only achieve physical goals for themselves, but also to help them through the psychological aspect of cosmetic surgery or reconstructive surgery, whatever we're doing. The physical part of that actually is the easiest part for a lot of people. It's the mental part of change. Dealing with uncertainty, stepping into the unknown, and changing a part of your identity that is really the difficult part. And if you think about those things, dealing with uncertainty, stepping into the unknown, changing parts of your identity, that's true of any aspect in life, not just surgery. It's true with changing jobs. It's true with changing your family status, having a child. And that's where this podcast is coming from, is using the experiences that we have here in our office to help you as a listener deal with your own changes by building community there, understanding that we all go through a lot of the same things, and hearing how people have navigated that for themselves may help you deal with whatever it is you're going through at the time. With this podcast, we'll look at both the physical and mental aspects of change by having candid conversations and using real-life experience as a guide. So join me as we explore how to best navigate change in our body, our mind, and in our life here on The Trillium Show. Thanks for listening to The Trillium Show. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at jhallmd.com. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to connect with us on social media, you can find us at jhallmd on Instagram and Twitter, and Dr. Hall Plastic Surgery on Facebook. Remember, be the change you wish to see in the world.